Hi everyone again, and I'm glad to see you all today. And I'm a little bit nervous because it's my first public performance. So I'm Arina, and I'm product designer at May Manychat. And first, let me give you some context about the product I'm working with. May Manychat is a platform for creating marketing automations. Our main use cases that we cover are lead generation, support, and sales for small businesses. Every month, billions of messages between businesses and users going through the platform. And a lot of Facebook pages are connected, Facebook and Instagram pages are connected to May Manychat. And this is how product looks inside. Here is our visual flow builder where marketer or business owner can create an automation. And for example, my Instagram follower sent me some keyword, and I, as a business owner, can send them a simple flow where customer can select product category and see the prices. And this is how automation looks on the end user side. So as you may see, Manychat is quite a complicated B2B tool. By the way, are there anyone who also works in B2B products? Could you please raise your hands? Seems like less than a half of you. So you may know that working in such a complicated product can be challengeable for a designer. Today, I want to talk about my personal experience because it may require to dive into other roles, not only design, and require to learn quickly. So I joined Manychat 2.5 years ago as a junior product designer, and during this time, I had a chance to work on the different areas of expertise and in different projects. And now I'm leading the design at Inbox Stream. So my first learning that I made for myself is not to be afraid to go beyond my role. There was a case when we sorry, I'm a little bit nervous again. So for a long time, I was thinking within the limits of the tasks my team was working on. And once, we was implementing a feature. So I created a user flow and passed it to the development. And we suppose that users would love these new abilities because actually it was kind of cool. They could drive sales with it. But in reality, the adoption was not very high. And this was not strange because users simply didn't understand how this feature worked. And this because they had only one article written in technical language and without any explanation how they can apply it specifically for their business. And later, as a designer, I understood that I could do more and take part in delivering this information to customers. I could describe the use cases and improve the article prepared by marketing. So I started to try find time and dive into other competencies where my contribution as a designer could be valuable. And one of the directions to go is the front end. A reasonable question that may come to mind, why should a designer get into code? When I first joined Manychat, I had a goal to better understand technical limitations on the front end. And I wanted to understand which things are easier to do and which are more difficult. And I wanted to speak the same language with the engineers. And I thought, which simple thing I can do as a designer to improve our product and at the same time to learn the code. So I explored different sections of our product, and I discovered that we have different empty states everywhere, and it didn't look very good, and it didn't lead user to any action. So I created a unified empty state design and approved it on the design community. And with the help of my mentor, I implemented this component in code. Yeah, I can't say that I've written all the code by myself, but I did understand how the process with code, how the front-enders working with code, how to get through a code review, and this let me better estimate the complexity of my solutions. And in terms of product metrics, we got the conversion to creation of new entities increased. Users began to create more new automations from new entry points. These small improvements are great, but I wanted to impact more broadly. And that's why I invested a lot of time in product understanding. There's an obvious fact that to create better solutions, you need to know your users. So I decided to become the user of my product. Since I didn't have a real business, I came up with an imaginary one, a restaurant. I set up automations for it, and this gave me an opportunity to discover different parts of the product, to see how it works, but I didn't get an understanding of the real users' use cases. Then, with a working group of designers, we created an agency and find a real company to work with. This was an online store where you can buy a subscription on clothing. They have a goal to increase the amount of their Instagram subscribers and active Instagram subscribers, and to optimize their Instagram inbox. And we created a Manychat Pro account for them, and we had an agreement that if they reach the goals till the end of 3 months, then they will continue to pay for the account themselves. So we set up basic flows for them and tested automations with game mechanics. And I have a question for you. Did anyone try to test games and quizzes in chatbots? Can you raise your hands? Okay, I seen some hands. Okay, let me explain how it works. For example, Instagram subscriber can react to business story, and a bot in response sends a short personality test. And depending on the results, bot gives some discount on the product. And we were surprised that subscribers actually interacted with the bot. 90% of those who started this automation reached the end of it. And some users even said that they had fun testing the bot. This project let us become the user of a product, and we found out why businesses wasn't ready to use automation to the fullest. They didn't want to rebuild their processes. Because why, as a business owner, I need to change my team of managers to some automation. Another reason why they were afraid, they didn't want to lose leads, because in their opinion, automation can't provide a personal approach to each client. And this experience of working as an agency actually was way more painful than when I was creating a bot for myself, like an imaginary business, because I was not just testing the product, I was doing the specific jobs. As a result, we gathered all UX issues we encountered that caused the most frustration. I got better understanding of patterns of using the product for a particular industry. And what made me happy is that some parts of these issues were taken into the backlog and implemented. Okay, I became a user of my product, but I wanted to learn about customers' experience more, and not only agency workflow, but other segments. And that's why we also do a lot of research. One of the research type is UX tested. We do it when we need to validate if our design is easy to understand for customers or to test different versions of design. And it also helps to reduce costs on development. This is the table where we collected all possible ideas on how to increase the visibility of omnichannel widget on the user's website. And these ideas appeared after we did competitors research, and every of these ideas was tested on the customers. And it helped us to prioritize the most popular options and exclude ones that didn't work well. It helped us to reduce the cost in development because we didn't need to spend time on the development of something irrelevant for users. And you can even go deeper and participate in the discovery research. The purpose of it is to define ideal user portrait, to understand their needs, pains, and problems with existing solutions. Recently, I was interviewing customers who are actively using our live chat, and one user showed us the photo of his office. Here you can see live chat agents, everyone sitting at the tables and in some garage-like space. And every agent has 4 monitors. So above Manychat window, they have 3 more processes to focus. And how do you think? Do they really care about user interface? Actually, no, because in that moment I realized that agents' goal is to close all the dialogues as quickly as possible, because they need to manage messages on 10 accounts per day. And I understood that the simpler the interface and talking to customers allows me to look on my product through the user eyes. And as a result of this inbox research, we got better understanding of how sales process of our customer is actually working, what other tools they use, and what they solve with it. And this allowed to determine the future strategy of the product. I created a live chat concept based on the repetitive patterns, and this concept covers user pains. This is like an ideal concept of the future, which we divide into iterations and take to work as small bites. Another direction that helped me to grow is marketing. And in my experience, it helped to develop communication skills. There is a fun fact that 1 year ago, I was working on the landing page. And I was doing everything by myself, including creating the design, animations, assets, building it on the website builder, and even setting up an A/B test. And this project was not very successful, but that's not the most important part. This year, again, we needed to create a landing to acquire customers for our new inbox product launch, and I decided to help my team with it because we didn't have a dedicated person who can create this landing for us. But this time I changed my approach and I involved brand designers, which are more skilled in beautiful visuals. I took part in creation landing page structure, prepared the scenario for the promo video and assets, and organized the work of the group. So if you have an ability to create, to collaborate with other people, use this opportunity. Before I started this project, I thought that it would be easier to tell others what to do than doing it by myself, but I was wrong because I had to spend a lot of time on communication, and this was kind of challengeable for me. But at the same time, it was interesting. Another thing that marketing team is responsible for is external communications with users. When we was working on Instagram stream, we decided to test retention mechanics in the chatbot. Usually we return customers through the email, but as you know, email open rates are much lower than messengers open rates. So I created a flow and automation that is sending to customer who is first joined the product. And this is how it works. In product, we ask user to test Instagram automation. To do it, they need to send a keyword to our Instagram account, and an hour later, bot asks like, did you manage to set up an automation? Did you face any difficulties? And we launched this follow-up, and after some time, we analyzed the results. First, we got a new source of hiring users for an interview, and we invited some of them to the call with the product team. And we also got insights about the blockers that users face on the way to getting value. And based on this, we figure out ideas on how to simplify this path, how to improve our interface and increase user activation. Sorry, it's a little bit early. So I just told you about some directions where product designer can go to develop. But when I was diving into these competences, I learned one obvious but important thing. To keep balance and don't forget about the quality of my solutions. Sometimes it may happen that you lose focus on your main responsibilities. There was a case when we need to increase the conversion of to creation flow templates. Flow templates helps users to quickly start with some automations. And I thought, why don't we just remove create empty flow button? Yes, actually, this increased conversion, but I didn't think about the experience of one of our segments of power users. We got a feedback from them, from our professional bot builders, and after this release, they became way more complicated because they need to do a lot of actions to rename the flow. So as a result, we need to fix this solution. Sometimes it may happen that designers pass their mockups, their solutions to the production, not in ideal state. And here, I'm not talking only about such significant UX changes, but also about some imperfections like wrong spacings, styles, some states that not work out. And this creates a feeling of carelessness. Yes, users are not designers. These small bugs don't really interfere with the job, but users notice details, and it affects the general perception of the product. One of the reasons why our customers like Manychat and not competitors is simple and clean UI. And in my experience, the carelessness in the interface appears when I was working in mockups in a hurry, and no one else in my team noticed mistakes. So I understood that the responsibility for high quality bar is on me. Yes, although we have different roles in the team, and the solution is created in the collaboration of several people, but the person who thinks about the quality the most is a designer. And I made it my rule before passing my mockups to the development, just take 10 more minutes of my time and carefully review everything through, even if I'm sure that it's all right. And finally, the most significant thing that helped me to grow is to enjoy what I'm doing. Yes, the growth is not always easy. It's rather a thorny path full of uncertainty and full of pain. And what helped me to overcome these difficulties is to surround myself with people who can give not only critical feedback, but also support. This way, growth will give you not only suffering, but joy and excitement. I hope that my experience was useful for someone, and thank you for listening.
Hello, and thank you for your speech. One of the greatest questions, which is everywhere I ask, it's how in big products creating design systems. Do you use design systems, and if you are designing some product, which system language you choose, or maybe you create your own? Because I'm a junior designer, and working in different companies, they were small, and I don't know how you must create design system or you must use other design system, how you work in big companies, how you begin the process of creating a product.
Yeah, thank you for question. And can you specify in how big is the company you work with?
It's not so big. At first company where I worked, there were 60 people, and now it's 100 people where I work in, and we are working in a little products, not so big, and I don't use so many times design system, but I think it's very important when you are working in a big product.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started to build in some product design system, I don't know how to begin. It will be my own idea, or I must use, for example, material design language or ant design language. It was a problem how you choose, how you made it.
Yeah, I think design system is mandatory for a big product because when the product just started to develop, it may be a little bit early to create design system, but when you have a big problem like product, sorry, like in Manychat, and you create new components all the time because you release a lot of new features. It's very important to have a design system. Yeah, so for example, in our company we have a problem that we have not all the components inside design system. We have basic components like checkboxes, buttons, and so on. And when we release new features, sometimes engineers use custom components, and this creates inconsistency in code and at the same time in the user experience. So I think it's very important to have a design system and to spend time, to invest time to sorry, I forgot the word, to develop it, yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you, first of all, for the presentation. I wonder how you deal with the accessibility at your company. Do you kind of follow VCAG standards in the organization about accessibility for disabled people? Let's say someone who can't hear, someone who can't see, how you deal with that?
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. To be honest, we don't have some special rules for some people with disability problems, but we do have some basic accessibility standards. So, like the contrast of the styles of text, the size of the text. For example, it doesn't. It mustn't be less than like 30K size. So yeah, we follow these standard rules and make sure that all our elements we use in the design are perfectly. I mean, it's easy to notice them. Yeah.
Hello, I have one question. Can you please tell me, have you ever conducted user interviews? And if yes, how they reflected on the designs?
Yeah, thank you. I told about it a little bit. So we have different types of research. We do UX tested, like decisions interviews, when we need to test our design to validate which version is easy to understand. And we also have discovery research. The discovery research is done by discovery team. And the goal, as I said, is to define an ideal person, an ideal portrait of the user. As for how it affects the design, again, UX tests, it led us to choose the most, the better option that will be easily to understand for customers. And discovery research helps to define how to develop our product. So which features we need to implement. It's like the short answer.
And I have follow-up question on usability sessions. Do you conduct usability sessions when you actually need to validate something, or you keep the regular cadence of usability sessions?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So
regular,
let's say you keep regular cadence, which means you know that every month you have to conduct usability sessions, and it doesn't matter whether you have something to validate or you need to hand off to engineers, or you have to already build something. Still, you organize usability sessions to validate probably old something, probably concept validation. How that interval happens when you organize usability sessions? Thank you.
Yeah, I got it. So we don't have a regular process of usability sessions, and we do it only when the tasks requires, because we have different tasks, like small, simple thing that is you need to just to do it, or you have a big task that should be worked out.
Yes.
And we don't have a rule for designers to test all the solutions, but most of the designers do use usability tests. And now we are working on the possibility to include in our process quick usability tests, so you can check every solution on the users.
Hi, I'm Lina. I still study UI design at Armenian Code Academy. And as you mentioned before, previously, you said that you programmed some coding for your project. Do you think that it is crucial for a UX designer to have some experience with coding with backend, or do you think that we can just stick with the UX and UI?
Why backend?
Well, with the coding, or maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think experience with the coding really can help to better understand the limitations, so you can easily estimate your solutions without asking the engineers. And that's how it works for me. But in some cases, designers can dive deeply into the code, and they even can do some complicated tasks. For example, if someone in the team, like engineer, can't is absent, so designer can include in this process and help the team. Yeah. So answering on your question, for me, it's important to learn the code, learn the basics. But again, in my experience, I didn't have a big desire to deeply involve with it.
Okay, we talked about tests, and you know, in such a big projects like B2B sales, where there are big numbers, we need to provide the client with a reliable product, reliable and fast product. And you talked about the testing and the user testing in the middle of your development. So was there any testing after solving your issues, after fixing bugs, you know, with 10 or 100 clients before the launching your product to the high amount of clients?
Do you mean do we test our solutions before releasing it on the big amount of users?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, if you mean like beta groups, of course we have segments, group of the users who became early adopters. So before releasing something big, we first tested on the small group of customers. We got the first feedback and fix something, and if it's okay, then we release it to all customers. Did it answer your question?
I think yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey. At first, thanks for the session, for your speech. It was quite interesting for me. And you talked about the work with development, very close collaboration with developers, and how much product managers do you have as you are product company? It's very important to work also with product managers. And you talked about how difficult it is actually to develop something. Okay, we can validate our assumptions with actual users, but how you go deep dive into the priorities? I mean, do you have used such prioritization methods? Because my experience just learned me that the priorities are very important, because we can design, for example, a couple of mock-ups very quick, but actually developers cannot implement it very quick as we can. So I would like to know about the prioritization, or maybe you have such success metrics. So this is very important for us, for the product to have, so it's must have, and the rest we can implement the next time. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for such a detailed question. As for product manager, you asked how many do we have? We have product manager in every stream. Before, we had product managers inside our teams, but then they went beyond the teams. Actually, I don't know the exact amount, sorry. And talking about their prioritization, how we decide which feature to implement first. I think that the most important factor here is that the feedback that we get from quality research, interviews, and this is important, and also the quantity factors. So if we see on data that a lot of users have pain with some feature, then it will be the most priority. And of course, we look on the product managers decided based on the revenue. So depending on how much revenue it can generate. Again, I'm not a product manager, so I can't give precise answer, but that's how I see it. Thank you a lot for your question.